Hey guys, my name is Matsumio, and welcome to your episode of Monday Mailbox. This is a video series where you, the viewer, can submit your gaming-related questions, and then I will give my humble opinion on them. To get the formalities out of the way real quick, if you would like to submit your own question that could be featured in an upcoming episode, you can do so by leaving a comment down below, or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. The first question for today comes from Michael, and it is, I'm a console player and I've been playing Siege for a very long time, but my friend is new to the game, and I always have to play with him because every time he gets in a casual game, people vote to kick him, and it's really hurting his game experience. What do you think about Ubisoft removing vote kick from casual? I gotta admit, the amount of times I've heard this story is really upsetting. Either from people that are brand new to the game, like your friend, who are just simply getting kicked because of their low level, or for people who are in a 1v3, 1v5 situation where their entire team died recklessly at the beginning of a match, and then those teammates then start the vote kick process because they don't want to wait for their teammate to clutch or inevitably lose the round. They just want to get that next round started, and so they vote to kick. Now imagine the original reason why they implemented this system was to give players the tools to stop toxicity. If someone is team killing or they're just flat out being obnoxious, you can decide to just be done with them, kick them from your squad, and hopefully the next person is going to be a little bit more pleasant. Now though, it actually seems to be a tool used for toxicity. And so I think it really begs the question, do we really even need to have a system like this anymore in Rainbow Six Siege? I'd be curious to learn the stats behind this functionality. How often is it being used, and who is it being used against? Is it being used properly to vote kick people that are being toxic and who just team killed, or is it being used improperly against people at a higher percentage who are brand new to the game? I think Ubisoft should take a look at those stats and figure out where they should go from there. And so let me know what you guys think on this topic. In my 2.5 years of playing Rainbow Six Siege, I have voted to kick 1 or 2 players for being toxic, and that's it. But I don't play on console, and that's where I hear where this is a much larger issue. And so do you think it's a good idea if they removed this functionality from the game? Would you be saddened because you actually use it for its intended purpose? Let me know down below in the comments. The next question comes from Mason, and it is, what about an operator like Twitch, but instead it shoots tracking darts? Honestly, it's kind of difficult to tell how useful this would be. On the one hand, it could be amazing and borderline overpowered, which we'll get to here in a second, or it could just be mediocre or maybe even useless. The reason I say this is that this is a gadget that is very specific in what it does. It doesn't allow you to take out gadgets, which is the main reason why you want to play as Twitch, which is incredibly valuable. It doesn't get you through walls any faster. It doesn't even arguably allow you to find roamers quicker like Dokkaebi or Jackal. And so I think what it really just comes down to is how would this fit into the meta, and how frequently does this spot the enemy? Is it something similar to Alibi, where it spots consistently and fast for a short period of time, or is it something like Jackal? The reason why I said earlier that this could be amazing is if it paired with certain operators like Lion. If you drone on in with this operator, you call out to your Lion, get ready to use your gadget, you tag someone, Lion activates his ability, that player is in a pretty precarious situation. Even if he stops and doesn't move, the entire offensive team knows exactly where that person is. That player is pretty much out of options. Either they can stand still so that they don't have the red outline around them, but of course they're still going to be spotted, so offense knows their location, or he can try to run away, but that's going to make it very obvious where he's running to because of that red outline. That is going to be incredibly annoying to deal with. It would require coordination and teamwork, and that is something that I always love seeing introduced into the game. I always love to have more synergies between operators. I think that is a good aspect of Rainbow Six Siege. But would it require that much coordination? We already saw with Lion, Dokkaebi, and Jackal that it doesn't require a whole lot of thought process. Everyone activates their ability at the same time, you rush on in and take everyone out. Yes, it's teamwork, but it's not really all that well coordinated. And while I think this would add a further layer and it might be a bit more challenging, I don't think it would be that much more challenging. And so all in all, I'm not really sure. If you're with a bunch of random players, it may not even be all that impactful. Like I mentioned, it doesn't really do a whole lot other than try to identify one player, and that may not be enough in the long term to be all that viable. But I'm worried that if they did implement something like that, especially with the other operators that we have in the game, like Dokkaebi and Lion, specifically Lion, it would just be a nightmare. The next question is, do you know where Favela went to? Nope. The next question, I'm just kidding. I honestly don't know what happened with Favela. I mean, you can play it in the custom game modes, but I don't think Ubisoft has ever said what they're going to do with Favela from here on out. My hope, and it's always been a small one, is that they would have done a map buff, a little rework, kind of like what they did with Clubhouse, to improve upon it and make it more competitive. Now, I don't know if this would have made it competitive enough to go back into ranked, but at least, you know, have it in casual. Even if they didn't make any changes to it, I know there's a lot of people that would have enjoyed to continue to play that map and have that content at their disposal, at least when they are playing on casual. I don't think it's nearly as bad as something like Bartlett University. That, I think, was a travesty. It's, I think, one of the worst maps ever created for a multiplayer game, but Favela was nowhere near that bad. Sure, it was unbalanced, but there's a lot of unbalanced maps in casual. What Ubisoft might be planning with it is what they did with Yachts. You guys remember Yacht was also taken away at the same time that Favela was, but then it was reintroduced. But at the same time, to bring Yacht back, I think they got rid of Bartlett University from ranked and casual. And so maybe that's what they have in plan for Favela. But if that's the case and we're following the same pattern, does that mean they have to take another map away from casual? Because I don't think many people would be on board with that idea as well. Sure, some people may not like Tower, but I don't think many people want it completely removed from the game. And so at this point, I really think it's anyone's guess, but I am hoping that we see this map sometime in the future. The next question comes from Sam, and it is, what do you think about adding in some sort of store for Alpha Pack items? I feel like some people only want a couple of legendary or epic items. They will be willing to take the time to grind out 200,000 or 400,000 renown to be able to buy the rare items that they want. So I would not be opposed to this, but I feel like those prices are a little steep. Personally, I think that the entire Alpha Pack system could use improving, and it mainly just comes down to the satisfaction of the Alpha Packs overall. When I buy 100 Alpha Packs and I only get one legendary, and it's not the legendary that I want, or let's say it's even worse, a duplicate, one that I already have, it's a real kick in the gut. I've heard of people that have put, hundreds, thousands of hours into this game, and they're still not getting the cosmetic items that they want out of these Alpha Packs. How in the world is that satisfying? I fully understand that they want to make these items unique and really legendary. Like when you get them, you can show them off to your friend and they can be like, wow, you're so lucky. But that's the thing. It's really just down to luck at this point, and I feel like they're taking away from the enjoyment of having these cosmetic items because they've made them too rare. I think probably the best example of how absurd all of this has gotten is in your question. You say 200 or 400,000 for a cosmetic item. I'm sure many people, when they heard that, were like, wow, that's ridiculous. There's no way I would spend that much renown for one item. And I agree with you. But if you take a look at the prices of Alpha Packs, that's not too far off. If you want to buy 50 Alpha Packs and you don't have the Season Pass, that is going to be 200,000 renown. You want to go all the way up to 100? That's of course going to be 400,000 renown, which is exactly what he stated in his question. You don't even have the guarantee that you're going to get the legendary that you want. You don't even have the guarantee that you'll even get a single legendary. 100 Alpha Packs, 400,000 renown, and not even a single legendary. How is that satisfying in the slightest? Now, I realize we're talking about cosmetic items here, and at the end of the day, it doesn't really matter in the grand scheme of things, but if you're gonna have a system in place, why not at least try to improve upon it? And so personally, I think probably the best way of handling is either what you described, having these just be really expensive items in the shop normally that you can buy with renown. Maybe not to that extent. I mean, I'm sure I probably would buy a couple because I play this game way too much. I still don't think they should be 200,000 renown for a single item. I think it's a vast improvement over the system that we have right now because you're not even guaranteed to get the ones that you want, but even still, that seems a little bit too steep. I think what would be even better though is just remove duplicates. If you have played this game so long that you're no longer getting all of those crazy commons and rares and all you're getting by the end is just legendaries, well then who cares? At that point, you are clearly someone who has put a ridiculous amount of time into Rainbow Six Siege, and what is the harm in rewarding you for that time? Does it hurt anyone who's brand new that they're going against someone who has unlocked all these legendary items? No, of course not, but it is rewarding for the people that have put the time on in. And so all in all, once again, I fully realize that these are just cosmetic items. I may be making a mountain out of a molehill here, but I really do think that the system could be improved because I just find it to be incredibly unsatisfying. But yeah, guys, that is about it for today's episode of Monday Mailbox. I hope you enjoyed. Let me know what you thought about what we discussed in today's video. Do you think that the alpha packs could use some improving? Do you like the idea of having a new gadget like this introduced in Rainbow Six Siege that can spot targets? Let me know down below in the comments. As always, if you'd like to submit your own question for an upcoming episode, you can also leave a comment or by sending me a Facebook or Twitter message. But until tomorrow, guys, have a good one and take it easy.